like to hear. That's nice. Hey, baby.
Shedeur Sanders went to 2 universities. When you say he doesn't love football, the thing that pops in mind is like, okay, was he like a 5-star prospect who went to USC, had everything delivered to him on a silver plate? No, he wasn't. This man went to Jackson State. He went to an HBCU. He took the long, hard road to get to where he went. I believe they won 27 games, turned that program all the way around. And then they went to Colorado. Nobody wanted to go to Colorado. They were 1-11 the previous season. And yes, they took the lumps in that first year going 4-8. But then they turned it around and went 9-4 in year 2. 2 years to turn around a program in Colorado that nobody wanted to go to. The people in Colorado didn't want to go to Colorado. But somehow, some way, Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback that he is, being able to galvanize his locker room and get those guys to believe that no matter what, as long as I got the ball, we got a chance. Isn't that what we're looking for in the NFL from our quarterbacks? Shedeur Sanders, last year, threw for 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Over the course of his career, he had a 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He threw for 4,000 yards last season at Colorado with limited offensive line help. This man got beat up in the pocket like he was one of Mike Tyson's old opponents, just getting hit with right hooks and left hooks all over the place. But they can never knock him out because he's tough. We are talking about a young man who delivered on the field in adverse situations and came out on top, faced the scrutiny at the college level that I don't think any player before him has ever faced, and came out on top. Isn't that what we're looking for from a starting quarterback in the NFL? I do think I want to simmer down and just talk to you guys about what the NFL draft really is about. The NFL draft is not about how great you are as a player. Evaluators, GMs, head coaches, scouts, they are trying to figure out how low can we draft this guy and get away with it.
Berean Scholar. Berean Scholar. Berean Scholar. Waking up the people of the Most High. Got the knowledge to destroy the lies. DNA history, open eyes. Walk into the darkness and turn on the lights. Wake up, 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 wake up.
If the right team does not pick him, then you will intervene.
That's my son. It's almost like you got a child that's going into an occupation that you already dominated in. Like, come on. And you don't think I'm not gonna sit there like a navigational system and tell him, take a right there, take a left right there, take a, not that, not that, oh, no. Like, that's who I'm called to do. That's my son. I'm not gonna let my son get down in no foolishness.
But you and I both know these coaches, these owners, right? You've been in the rooms.
Right.
The owners, billionaire owners,
yes,
will often say, well, this is a young man who should be making his own decisions. You know, he's got this helicopter dad.
Not my son. No. And we ain't in no helicopter. Yeah.
So
yeah, we
Giants,
definitely ain't in no helicopter.
Giants are you're in the have you told him privately who you would like for him to play for?
It's not like that.
Okay.
Like, it's not like who I would like for him to play for. It's a couple teams that I won't allow him to play for. So it's not like that. But this is my profession. I know what's behind the curtain. We ain't got to get back there for me to understand what's behind the curtain and what's not prominent for my son. I'm not doing it.
And if he doesn't listen to you?
Who?
Deion Sanders, people either love this man or hate him, but he tries his best for his kids and his players. These fathers also was villainized by the media for doing their best for their kids. What's the similarity? Now, a year ago on the podcast, Deion said this about the draft on a podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game. Listen to this now.
Where do you predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
Ooh, that's pretty beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be
speak it into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be it's gonna be an Eli.
Eli? You mean this happened before? Oh.
The Chargers let it be known they called Eli Manning's agent, Tom Condon, last week to open negotiations with his client, and the response was, in essence, no.
I will confirm what the Chargers said last night. I will admit I was a little surprised that they went public with that.
Will you be happy if the Chargers end up picking him on Saturday? Happy?
No. As far as reasons why, I'm not going to go there.
I know what you're saying. This is not the same, but it did, because he complained to the NFL commissioner and the NFL team owners.
Well, initially, it was fine, great, and everything, and then just prior to the draft, we heard that there was a decision made by, I believe, Archie Manning that he didn't want Eli to come to San Diego.
Archie Manning was the Eli's manager. Deion Sanders is Shedeur's manager. They both wanted the best for their sons, but Archie Manning didn't get penalized. Watch what happened with Eli's pick.
Why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
We're not really giving details right now. We just we've made our decision, and that's what we're sticking to.
Who's influenced you the most?
It's not really an influence. This was my decision. It was, I wanted to do this. I was not, told to do this. We talked about it, and I thought it was the best idea, so I went with it.
The Chargers call your name when I talk to you after the pick. Will you be wearing a Chargers hat?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.
With the first choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Eli Manning, cornerback, Mississippi.
You see now, he's getting booed all over the country.
Well, that's what's happened with this scenario here, and that's why Archie hastens, because what's happened is that now Eli is a villain.
Eli Manning's position was not unprecedented. 21 years earlier, John Elway was drafted first overall by the Colts and threatened not to sign. The Colts general manager at the time was Ernie Accorsi. Now, Accorsi was with the Giants, and again, he was looking for a quarterback.
Did you hear it? Eli Manning and John Elway, both number 1 draft pick, both said what they were not going to do and told the NFL that, but they both got drafted number 1 anyway. You tell me, what's the difference?
Hey, big guy. What's going on? How you doing? Hey, look. You doing all right? You gotta let my brother have his way in the league. Yeah, you gotta. I'm worried about your pop. I'm worried about your pop. I'm worried about your pop.
Are you serious right now, bro?
What you worried about him, bro?
They love a black man humbled, head bowed, hat in hand, thankful for whatever scraps fall from a table we built but never got a chance to sit at. But let him stand. Let him say, yo, I made this. Let him hand the blueprint to his son. Watch how fast they start calling it unfair. Shedeur Sanders ain't just a football player. He's a birthright. He's a living contradiction to a system that was built to make sure that we start from scratch every single time. So they moved the finish line and then got the nerve to tell us it ain't about race. It's about earning it. But when Luke Walton got handed the clipboard, it was called legacy. When Bronny laces up, it's he ain't never going to be his father. When Shedeur walks in, it's, man, he ain't no prime. The goalposts don't just move, they shapeshift, turn invisible, and then they tell us we missed. They don't build hurdles for their sons, though. They roll out red carpets, hand them millions, make them presidents and CEOs, but for ours, they lay tripwires in the end zone, kick their feet out from their inherited floor seats just to trip us, and then say we stumbled because we ain't got discipline. They don't hate Deion Sanders because he's loud, because Deion always been loud. They hate the fact that he raised a loud black child who don't need their approval to feel chosen. They hate how he was already taught to love his name instead of only having pride in it after they called it. They don't hate Bronny James because of skill. They hate that he got handed a ladder instead of a shovel. They hate that he was born in a house with the blueprints as wallpaper. That ain't just privilege, that's prophecy. And they ain't built to accept us fulfilling our own prophecies. They don't hate LeVar Ball because he talks crazy. They hate that he talked crazy and then manifested it as truth. That he dared to put his sons in the driver's seat before they could ever be trained that they didn't belong behind the wheel. They trained us to be grateful for bus fare even when we were born into Bentleys. They don't mind nepotism, as long as the hands passing the crown down don't look like ours. And when it don't work out, when Marcus Jordan don't wear his father's shoes like a second skin, they don't just let him live. They call him a wasted name, as if a tree that don't grow into a carbon copy ain't still rooted in greatness. See, the world don't mind us succeeding, as long as we do it their way, smiling, bowing at the altar of approval, holding our children's head down too, teaching them to whisper when they were born to roar. But teach your child to kick over the altar, hand them the crown without permission. Now you're the villain. Now you're a cheater. Now you're ruining the game. Because when a black man teaches his child to inherit empires instead of trauma, he ain't just breaking cycles. He's breaking chains that they never wanted us to notice in the first place. And that's the danger. Not our failure, but our freedom. Not our struggle, but our self-sufficiency. Because the moment we stop asking for a seat and start building the table, we realize we were never meant to eat from their hands in the first place. So to every father who dares to dream out loud for your child, you are not arrogant. You are not ungrateful. You do not have to be humble. You are a master architect while also being told that you don't exist. They'd rather beat the dead horse of you only supposed to being a dead beat. Every time you tell your child you don't need their permission, you break a chain that the world wants them to wear. So stand tall until it's time to pass down your crown. And don't you ever bow your head and give thanks for sitting at a crooked table that you were never born to sit at when you were born to build one fit for a king.
I will say this before I do, Ocho. In all my years that I go back to like really following the draft and understanding where players are going getting drafted, back in 87. In almost 40 years, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. I've never seen nothing like this myself. Obviously, I know I only played a short time, but I've been around long enough to know. Obviously, the 11, 12 years I did play, and all the time I've been retired and enjoying the game and watching it from afar and understanding how good players are, regardless of what scouts may say. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. I watched Shedeur play from high school to college at Jackson State to what he was able to do at Colorado. I want everybody to understand that you're never bigger than the program. You'll never be bigger than the program no matter who you are. And they will show you, they will always remind you at any given time, if at any point you think you are bigger than the program. And that is all we're seeing. That's all we're seeing right now. Joe, that is all we are seeing right now, regardless of who you are. There's some things I think Prime might have said. I don't want to quote it, but where he said it similar to.
There's some places I don't want to go. We're not going to go.
Bingo. What Archie Manning said when it came to Eli. Same thing. No different. Anyway, I got something today I really want to read. Chad, I want you to listen to me real quick. I'm not here to stir up. I'm happy for everybody that got drafted. I want you to listen to something that was sent to me on Instagram. Chad, y'all stay with me real quick and just listen to me very, very closely. What we are witnessing once again is the machinery of a system that has never quite known what to do with a free black man, much less than a free black family. The NFL, with all its pageantry and power, finds itself uncomfortable, even threatened, when the likes of the Sanders family walk into a room, not asking for a seat at the table, but daring to bring their own. Deion, Shedeur, this family has refused to shrink to fit the confines laid out for them. And so the machine does what it has always done. It seeks to diminish, to distort, to remind them and us that there is still a place for black folk. It is not at the head of the table. But the tragedy, you see, is not in their refusals to bow, but is in the nation's fear of black excellence unchained. The fear that has always been the real danger, not the power of our stride, but the shadow we cast when we stand upright, unafraid, and unapologetically ourselves.
I don't know about you, but I think Chad Ochocinco just slammed it. I mean, that was a mic drop. He slammed it like slam Loki. And I'll challenge you, if you search any other social media platform for Shedeur Sanders, you'll find tons of people who are backlashing against the NFL for what they've done.
I need to check in with my son as he watches the NFL drafts is not sitting right with me. People think that these people are trying to break Shedeur Sanders. They are. It is bigger than him, though. So now I have to go talk to my son and explain a narrative of the Willie Lynch theory, so that he won't get discouraged about going after his dreams of playing in the NFL. When people sit on the sidelines and they don't really know, and I know because I didn't know how serious this was either. I didn't know that our kids really needed to see moments like this, but they can also take moments like this to try to break our kids by using the biggest one they could find. God forbid a black man knows exactly who the he is and what he carries. God forbid he has a father like Deion Sanders who instills in him integrity, morals, principles, right? So that he cannot be controlled by people. Them people don't want nobody in that NFL that they cannot control, which means for me as a mother, two things are happening here. As a mother who is raising her kid on her own, I have family members who play football that I can put in place for when it's my son's moment, you know what I'm saying? So that he can be protected. I'm realizing they be our boys over.
He didn't take a professional approach. Well, can you give me an example of what he did? Because you say he didn't take the professional approach, and then 2 seconds later you said, well, there was no altercation, he wasn't disrespectful, right? So him not taking the professional approach, what does that mean? Give me an example, something tangible. It's been 10 minutes of horseshit. And now there's a lot to unpack here. No, we unpacked it. And now you're out of shit to say, so you throw it to your co-host.
I am concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's bad when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is pushing out tweets about how corrupt it is. I mean, think about that.
This has to be one of the craziest falls from grace of all time. Shedeur Sanders will lose out on $41 million after being drafted in the 5th round. Mind you, this is an athlete that before the draft, he was being talked about as a top 10 pick. He was also in the top 10 of Heisman Trophy votes. There are definitely teams that passed on him that are going to regret this. But to put this into perspective, it's about control. Shedeur Sanders does not fit the criteria for a NFL black athlete. He doesn't come from the mud like a Cam Ward. His teammates, he doesn't have the same situation like a Jimmy Horn. Shedeur is a Sanders, and a lot of people think that he carries himself as an arrogant, brash individual. That's exactly why a lot of these critiques are anonymous. It's crazy that people can sit here and say that he did not care what they thought of him. Like that's a quality that you would want in a quarterback.
He found out by us on the outside. I don't know what the Sanders family knows or is hearing. I don't know what people are telling him or not telling him. I just know that if I'm that young man right now, Joel, it's almost impossible to feel that it's not personal.
Here's my thing, though, Joel. The league has sent a message. Now, they might not like the message, but the league has sent a message. Now it's his opportunity to send his message. That's my opinion on it.
So I'm going to tell y'all what just happened. Now, Shedeur Sanders was finally drafted in the 5th round by the Browns. He's the 5th quarterback on their roster. They did this because they heard the noise that we were been making online about boycotting the NFL. So the owners sat together and said, hey, we've humiliated him enough. We've humbled him in Deion Sanders. His father isn't going to be all at our organizations thinking he's running everything. So now what's happened, they finally took him off the board so that the black viewership won't go down. And what's about to happen now is, even though he's not a starter, they're going to sign him to a short 2 to 3 year contract, maybe $5 to $6 million, if that. And they're going to make record profits off of his jersey sales. They're going to make record viewership during the preseason games when he's playing. This is a win-win for the NFL.
Okay, I didn't want to speak on this anymore, but can you tell me the last time someone outside the first round was the #1 pinned photo on the NFL? Look at that. And you got #1 and #2 here. Hold on, it gets better. You would think this is a feed from Shedeur's and the Sanders family personal page with all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is just a little bit of the way down. If you don't think that the NFL is completely using this situation, I mean, when has the 144th pick ever gotten a graphic or anything of the sort, unless they have extreme media prospects? And you're telling me he didn't go in the first round. Not only did they use this man, used and abused, and I'm sure they'll turn this into, and his family is powerful enough to turn this into a win, but it should just make you sick as a viewer to see that you got in this way and that it was all a trap. Think about all the advertisements that we've watched over the last few days. Think about all of the things that were like low-key subliminally being sold to us. This should make you sick that this is what is going on in media in 2025.
What do you think about this topic? Remember to be a Berean Scholar, as it is written in the book of Acts 17 verses 11 to 12. Now the Bereans were more noble-minded than the Thessalonians, for they received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day to see if these teachings were true. It's time to deepen your understanding and see your reflection within the sacred pages. Please click subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay up to date with the Berean Scholar channel.